Welcome to STT, number one video game podcast on Twitch. Maybe not this week. Just maybe
Nah,
not.
man, we're not even on Twitch. Don't lie.
Yeah, no,
But we
not
had
even Twitch.
did okay. Hello, wait. Did you see? Because you got it in the title. But did you see the video of the girl supposedly fucking on Twitch that got banned? I guess for a week. Did you see the video?
No, man, I didn't see the video. Did you watch the video?
Yeah, of course I did.
Oh, okay.
I also
Okay.
watched the video of the shooting in Buffalo. It was horrible. I should have never watched it.
No,
I
and
feel
then
like
you
it
sent
was
it
from
to
that
me
fucking
because
movie.
you're like, if I had to
But it was
see
like
it, we got to be in this together. And you know
what's
what?
the
I
name of that
agreed
movie with
that.
that VHS tape that was like a cursed tape that you gave it to other people and it would chase to kill you?
The Ring. It was The Ring. It was The Ring.
That's what I did with that goddamn video. But
Yeah, it
but
was
no,
The
man,
Ring.
it wasn't that impressive. I don't even think it was that big of a deal in some way, honestly. But I mean, I guess she was fucking. I don't know. It was weird though.
I mean, I
It
keep
was
hearing
very.
about it.
It was poor amateur, if it at
Yeah.
best.
Well,
She did seem like she got mounted though. Potentially.
Did she get banned for a week? That's
I
what I
guess,
heard.
fucking,
Like
I
she
mean,
got
it's a
banned
weird,
for a
strange
week.
time. Yeah, that's what I mean. No, and it's not like when I'm telling you, you can look at the video. I guess supposed to be able to see something in the window, but I couldn't
Oh,
really see it.
they're getting real. Like some people are
Honestly,
getting real bold with that stuff. Like somebody was like talking on Reddit how like TikTok. There's people who go live on TikTok and like the videos shifted like 1 or 2 frames over. So what it looks like though is like it'll be like something moving real fast and it'll look fleshy and they're just trying to get subscribers and I don't know. It's like I don't know who's watching these though. Like why would you watch that
fast and fleshy.
fast and fleshy? That should have been this. That's the oh my god, the Fast and the Furious. That's the porn parody. The Fast and the Fleshy.
Fast and fleshy.
The Fast and the Fleshy. That's it right there. That's 100% it.
Right.
No,
Right.
I did not.
But yeah, man, we're not here to talk about Twitch fucking today.
Oh my
We're
god.
here to start off talking about
No, we're here to actually talk about stuff. Stuff.
yeah, but like
I think we've enjoyed this week.
House of the Dragon, I think. And I mean, I had trouble. I recorded that little crate. You know, I'm gonna do my little
Yeah, you're gonna do
Elden
your
Ring
thing.
child.
You're gonna do your thing.
Whatever. But where I just have a lisp and I say things like House of Dragon instead of House of the Dragon.
I
But
kept saying House
know
of
we
Dragon
both-
all week.
Yeah, right.
Like
And we're gonna dig into the whole dragon thing because that
Yeah.
leads to, you know, what is the greatest dragon movie in our opinion of all time? Which because I saw Dragon Ball superhero, how
Yeah.
massive, colossal, grandiose superhero, which was fun, and just talking about dragons in general. I'm found that I'm more partial to like English dragons lately.
yeah.
Even like African dragons, like I looked into that because I didn't know that. I was like, do Africans have dragons? But
Is
I've
that
been
a
like,
thing?
fuck Chinese dragons. I've been seriously like, fuck Chinese dragons lately. Except Mulan's Eddie Murphy's version of a dragon.
Dude, that's the
But,
best. That's one of my favorite versions of a dragon. I love Mulan though. Like that's a good movie. That's a good movie. But yeah, African dragons. You got me curious now. So yes, they do have African. That's awesome.
Right.
Rainbow
Yeah, I had to
goddess
look
and the
into it.
cosmic rainbow serpent. Dambala and Aida. Dude, that's cool.
So supposedly like a serpent, more like serpent head. You know, they all have different kind. But I was like, yeah, what, you know, all these fucking dragons. But yeah, House of the Dragon. You know, I was actually surprised about your opinion about
Oh,
George R. Martin's Game of Thrones.
It sucks.
So I was like, oh, okay, right. And I know you again, like that's more your area of expertise. You movie critic, writer. You've done this shit before.
Yeah.
You've had previous podcasts strictly associated with, you know, writing and your actual critical opinion of film and all things of those types of art.
Yeah.
Like in that ilk. Like you're very humble about that shit. It's kind of like a secret life that you live because you're a bit of a weirdo.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
always
I'm a
am
little
like
bit of a
that's
weirdo.
part of the reason why we kind of click.
now
So I want your opinion on House of the Dragon when you get a moment. But go ahead.
what I was gonna say though is just like, okay, as far as like me thinking Game of Thrones sucks, Like that's something that like my wife liked it. I know a lot of people are like, no man, you should watch Game of Thrones. I tried. I made it one season, and I was like, this is boring. I can't stand this. I'm not into this at all. I don't like any of the characters. The reality is that you have to take my opinion on a drama television show with a grain of salt. I didn't watch Breaking Bad until like 7 or 8 years after it had been off the air. And then even then it took me like 2 years to watch that show. Like, and I liked it, like, but it takes me forever to watch stuff. I like bright, colorful, bombastic, animated, insane, over the top, funny stuff. Like, and that's just who I am. And for movies and like fantasy stuff, I like Dragon Slayer. And I like super cheesy, the sword and the, what was it called? You remember the one that was like the Sword and the Sorcerer from the 80s? Like the super cheesy, ultra violent, insane, over the top. That's what I like. So take.
Were there midgets in that one?
I think so. No, that was.
I think. But see, that's kind of a cop out. In the '80s, there literally was midgets, but there was a lot of midgets in '80 movies.
Yeah, Willow was good.
A lot.
Willow was fantastic.
Willow was good.
Yeah, Willow was.
Yeah,
good.
I'm having a moment, but yeah.
But yeah,
but I feel you. I feel you.
Like I get bored with like political stories too, and that's what a lot of like. That's a whole lot of what Game of Thrones was political stuff. So I got kind of bored with it. Just really early on. I was just like, my wife watched it. She liked it up until like the last 2 seasons. So, you know, I trust her opinion. Like her opinion is, if she likes something, that generally means it's really good, because she's very selective on like what she engages with. So I was
with shit like that. For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Trust her opinion.
Because I'm not going to get her, like, she won't watch that Lord of the Rings Ring of Power TV show next week when it comes out with me. And I'll watch it. Like, it's Lord of the Rings. Like, I love the
I'm
Lord
glad
of the
you
Rings
reminded me of that shit. I completely forgot.
Yeah, Amazon Prime next week, I'm pretty sure.
And Slime.
Amazon Prime and Slime. Callback. Go watch that video. We describe what it means. Just know it's not
Don't
pleasant.
Watch that video. That
you won't
video's
like
terrible.
it at all.
Real quick before I forget, that reminds me, because from the people that's been there from the beginning, like, well, again, shout out Aaron. In fact, I was talking about the giveaway after we made it to 100 subscribers. Thank you for liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. Just while we get back on track with recording the podcast. But fuck it, man, Aaron, you won. So yeah, we're gonna get you squared away. We already know you. You know, you already Discorded out and Facebooked out. You literally already
holding it down.
I took help STT triple OG tag. So yeah, bro, like off top. And that's legit too, because you actually, I remember that video was a certain comment had to be made at the end of the chat or whatever. You were in there. Yeah. So fuck it. And you keep it solid. So we'll be in your inbox, bro. We're gonna be in your inbox like a thirsty old nigga in a cosplayer's goddamn inbox for Chun-Li. We in there.
Dude, if you're a cosplayer for Chun-Li, I don't even want to know how many, what your inbox looks like. I really don't want to know. That's like the stuff of like, that is a post-apocalyptic dick pic laden nightmare, I'm sure. Like, I'm 100% sure. That's like, what's her name had to get off social media, and we'll get to House of the Dragon. The chick from Stranger Things, did you read about that? Like, she had to jump off social media because she was just like, literally when she turned 18, all these dudes just started sending her dick pics. And I'm just like, what? Like, why? Like, what? Like, what makes you think
it just reminds me of the scene from Superbad. Well, boy had the condition.
Yeah,
man.
Where
it's
kept
a weird thing we do, I guess.
Draw penises.
Right.
Yeah, it's fantastic though. All right,
Speaking of that though, okay, so speaking of Aaron too, as a reminder before you get into your thing. So is it Millie Alcock or Alcock? That plays
Alcock, I think. I don't know. Hold on. Let me look it up. We're gonna
I mean, maybe we don't have.
I'm curious,
fuck it.
I'm curious.
So, I mean, we're just talking. We can cut this down for the actual podcast.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Y'all are on the ride with it. Y'all just get to
Yeah.
enjoy it. I don't really care.
And it's just crazy, man. Yeah, no, I do care. I care the fact that we're still doing this fucking thing. But I feel you. It was funny that this is literally the third time we tried to make this happen. Because the first, I think it was just the title came up sometime, and it was childish because it reminded us of the last week's episode where it was like Corey's and Dragon Balls or whatever.
Yeah. It
But
just like
yeah,
it was the last
getting
one
her done.
for some reason. All right, here we go. I'm
We're getting
I'm gonna play how to pronounce this thing. Are you ready? I don't know if it's gonna pick up. We're gonna find out though.
She does have a weird face, man. I don't know, but I mean, it grew on me towards the end. Like I said, we'll get into that. But
Let's see. Alcock.
all cock, all cock.
Alcock. Well, it's
It's all
spelled
cock.
U
It's been
H L
definitively
dash Kaak. Alcock.
all cock,
Alcock.
nearly all cock, all cock.
That's way too complicated for me.
Queen of. All right,
That-
okay, but yeah.
That's
So,
way too complicated.
what's your initial impressions, man? What's your initial impressions of House of the Dragon? In light of not enjoying the Game of Thrones.
House of the Dragon. Okay, so in light of not enjoying Game of Thrones, if I'm gonna do a quick compare and contrast, I love this show so far. One episode in, and I'm like really into it. I'm sorry, you put a jousting tournament in the middle of the show, I'm on board. Like that just makes, and it's super violent. And I've talked about this. I love violence in media. I'm not gonna lie. That's like some of my favorite. Like I'm a gore hound, dude. That is one of my things. Like I like gory movies. I like gory television shows, and there's a lot of that in this show. And the fact that like they are setting up Damon to be probably one of my favorite villains, and it's Matt Smith, the former Doctor, who is playing such a different character than Doctor Who in this. Like he's playing the exact opposite of the Doctor, right? He's playing a conniving political cutthroat who is willing to literally murder civilians in order to make them be afraid of him, like be terrified of him. And what's so cool about that to me is just like Game of Thrones, I understand, tried to take some of the fantasy tropes and like get away from it a little bit. And what you ended up having was a lot of like crazy incest and violence and really bizarre stuff that was like not really felt of that fantasy element to me, especially the political fantasy element. And I know a lot of people look at to it as kind of like this real good piece of literature, and they're just like, yeah, this is like modern fantasy, and I get it. But what I wanted from Game of Thrones was more of a buy into some of the classic fantasy tropes and then expand. And this one feels like they're doing that with House of the Dragon. This feels like it's got more of those classic fantasy tropes. Without breaking the mold too much. And I like that. Like, at least to start up with. At least it's a good setup. And they're probably going to get away from it and go further. But that's what I like about it is because, like, I already like the characters. I already like Damon as kind of like this villain. I like the costume design. I like the action sequences. I love the dragons. Absolutely incredible. Like,
Agreed.
The fact that they have dragon riders. Like, I'm all on board for that. Like, all day long. That's incredible to me.
In the first dragon named Cyrax or something like that, I believe.
I think so. Like,
yeah. I keep going back to that.
But the jousting tournament interlaced with like the birth of that child and the fact that it's like, well, you're either going to lose the mom or the dad. Spoiler alert, the mom or the baby. Like, you're going to have to make a decision. And it's interlaced with this political jousting tournament. Incredible, dude. Absolutely incredible. Beautiful editing. I loved it, dude. First episode is a solid 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 for me. I mean, I don't put ratings on stuff anymore, but this is one of those that I'm just like, yeah, 100%. House of the Dragon is an absolutely incredible show. I can't wait to see episode 2. Like, y'all,
me too.
They're setting up something good. Now, they could go off the rails. Like, it really could, but dude, Matt Smith chewing up scenery as Damon, I'm 100% on board with. And that one dude from Notting Hill's in it. Like, he's pretty cool too. He's like, he's a good dude. He's
I feel like
good actor.
an asshole because I completely forgot that he played in Doctor Who, and I actually the Matt Smith character. And
Yeah,
this is why I needed you to give. That's what I'm saying. I completely forgot about that shit. I was like, oh yeah, that was Doctor Who. I actually watched some of that series when I went to that binge worthy little time frame with Doctor Who. But yeah, man, I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly how I feel so far. I really don't know how we're gonna go. You know, moving forward. But I'm also caught up in the hype. Like I know it.
oh, I
Sometimes it's
am too.
hard
I am
to
too.
get back into a show when you're not a part of the momentum of it. That's the thing. It's hard to go back on a show where it's already been a lot of spoilers. So to be there for the beginning, and on top of it, I don't think it's just that. It is just well done. It's just fun. Like that first episode, regardless of when I saw it, I wasn't even a fan of Game of Thrones when I first started, so I really didn't know much. I just could not get into it, just
Yeah.
straight up out the beginning. So I think it's they threw a little kid off a tower, and I was just like,
Yeah.
uh.
Yeah. That
One
was
more
one of
thing
my
I would
picks.
agree with Aaron on too, though, is Millie Alcock. The he says is the nose is too small for her face.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, noses are something sometimes I pay attention to. I don't pay attention to facial features that much, but when my wife points it out to me, she's like, "That dude's nose is huge." Then I can't stop saying it. Or it's like that dude's nose
All
is
right.
tiny. Or we used to watch this show on TBS called Cougar Town, and there's one character and he's got beady eyes. He's got little bitty tiny eyes, and she pointed it out, and I was like, "Oh yeah." Like he really does have very tiny eyes. It's really strange once you start seeing those features. But man, like I want to know. Like I know you did a video on it, and everybody can watch that video. But like overall, your thoughts. What did you think, man?
I mean, initially, I was skeptical
Yeah,
based on my previous experience.
yeah,
Period. But again, like some people, I'll tell you this: it was good enough for me to go back, like a Sports Center episode after a good game, and try to do some research on some of the players, like
yeah,
the Steve Toussaint guy. I had to look into that, and actually, and the backstory behind that, and where that part of the family came from. I think they're Valerians or something like that. Like I actually went back and looked at it, while some people might not think it was just proper casting because they weren't supposed to be black. Actually, from the description, where they were supposed to be pale skin with like violet eyes and silver hair, but the choice that they chose him, and I think he's been a couple other things that I like.
oh yeah,
It
for
kind of
sure.
captured my attention. Um, but yeah, just the political shit actually, like what turned you off from the show of Game of Thrones, which I can understand because I couldn't get into it, is what captured me in House of the Dragon. I mean, the dragons, I needed that in the beginning. The gore, of course, like you said, I mean, again, titties and ass, all things coming together like booty cheeks. Bootyism is a true religion. But of course, that's in there. But it was more so the political aspects for the actual throne, hence the
Yeah,
name Game of Thrones. And once
yeah,
that clicked for me, I was hooked. Now I'm week to week. Now I gotta at least check it out. No guarantees, but
that's right.
and it's a different kind of show from what I'm watching with like a She-Hulk now. But definitely I'm excited about. I can understand why it's already re-signed for a season after one fucking episode.
Yeah, dude.
Completely re-signed to do season 2. So,
I
you
totally can
know,
see that too. Like it's just like every actor in this show is just like doing a marvelous job. They really are. And that the girl who ends up being at the end of the episode where they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna be my heir." Like she's just got that face of just like I'm kind of curious to see where that goes. Of just like, are they gonna turn her slightly villainous? Because she's almost got that face of like, all right, now that I got the power, I'm gonna show you what a woman can do. And I was like, that's pretty dope. Like that was pretty dope. And when he's like revealing the secret at the end, where he's just like the end of the world, and the predecessor to the whatever the ice dude coming from winter is coming,
oh
whatever
yeah,
that
the
is.
prophecy. Right,
Yeah,
right, right, right.
yeah,
Whatever that
yeah,
was supposed to be. Right, right.
yeah,
So the one thing though, I mean, I normally don't like to do spoilers or whatever, but fuck it. At this point,
yeah,
people are doing backstories for everything. It threw me off. I almost got lost, but it actually caught me, like the scene with Damon where it kind of introduces insanity, where he charges into the courtyard and basically starts pointing out criminals
And
and
slaughtering
judging
them.
them right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally buckets and buckets of shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Cutting off dicks and cutting off thief hand, raper, dick cut off. Like he just sitting there like I was like, what in the fuck am I watching? You know what I'm saying? All right, but okay, this makes a lot of sense. It feels like that in these streets right out here, kind of getting that way right now in real life. So some things
kind of
reflect
Alabama
reality,
would like to have a word
but
with you because that's reality. Like especially in places like Alabama.
I mean, I just saw something about historically in Mississippi where it was a place called the Devil's Punch Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Where there were thousands of free slaves thrown into a ground. So I mean, it's interesting what we might gravitate to and get into sometimes. But I really first episode impressions, not like guaranteed because I might watch episode 2 or make fade. I don't know, or it might be like my favorite show in quite some time. It's really good to have that option though. It's like worth talking about again.
Well, and
it brought up Rain of Fire.
Yeah, like the burial scene with the dragon, that was dope. Like for me,
right.
It was just like I was into that. And of course, just like dude, you're gonna put a jousting tournament in anything, I'm 100% on board. Like I love to watch that kind of stuff. That reminds me of like King Arthur, right? Like that's the kind of stuff I really like. Even though I was like, it's funny because we take fantasy from there's a lot of these fantasy elements come from like the medieval times and the that kind of era. And I read that whole book. We were talking about that Power and Thrones. That's a great book if you haven't read it. But it's about medieval history, and it just talks about knights. Like it has a whole chapter dedicated to what knights really were. Knights were just straight up mercenaries, bro. Like that's what they were. They were just straight up mercenaries. And those jousting tournaments, like when they get all butthurt in House of the Dragon and they're like getting upset with each other and attacking each other and stuff, that didn't happen. Like they were just like they were there to make some money and then move on with their day because they were basically just like they were basically the way the guy said it. He's like they were the sports stars of their day. They would go from castle to castle, give their services, play in tournaments, try to make some money, get some reputation, and then they would move on. And that was it. And I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, that's pretty cool. So, because he actually talked about how, like, Arthurian legend was so strange because of, like, the Knights of the Round Table, bringing people together to rule in a harmonious effort was a really interesting, especially when you're talking about a group of mercenaries. That's what makes it so dope in my mind, where it's just like, that's cool. Like you brought a group of mercenaries together to try to like make things better, and you got a badass wizard like Merlin, and like who can travel in time. Because if you ever read like anything Arthurian, like Merlin's not in time. Like he's out of time. He exists out of time. Like, sorry, I could go on Arthurian legend forever.
No,
I
bro,
love King Arthur.
And bro, and that's it, man. Thank you for breaking that down, bro. Like for real shit. Like that's dope, and that's pretty much what we kind of represent as far as the ideals of what we've been doing for the past years for the podcast and mercenaries that we have. Like you rather have 10 lions than a million sheep, they say, and that's always been like a principle thing that you've always represented. So yeah, no, I can dig it. But so yeah, 9 out of 10 first episode.
Yeah, 100%.
Stamp down. We're good to go. We'll see how this moves forward. I'm with it. With it.
I think my wife's. Yeah, she's up right now. I'm going to text her too. I'll bring this opinion just in a little bit. But I'm going to ask her, what did you think about House of the Dragon? And we'll see. We'll see. Her opinion's the ultimate one that matters in this household. Because we married. And by that, I mean...
Isn't that rough, dog? Hold on, let me whisper. Let me whisper so she doesn't hear.
No.
Are you okay? We didn't talk about this before recording. Are you safe? Blink. Okay. All right. Check this out. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've been to a con. But we got to find some cons. We do. We'll get you over there. I mean, we'll get you out of there.
We do.
Go to the Gay Lord.
Yes.
Go to the Gay Lord this year.
QuakeCon, bro. QuakeCon.
See what it has going on.
Yeah, absolutely. But
tell the sidebar real quick.
House of the Dragon's good.
House of the Dragon. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Okay, I'm done.
No, what you was about to say?
I just said House of the Dragon's good. Just to sum it up, like it's good.
Cool,
Watch
cool.
it. Like it's fun.
Okay. Just something came up in the Discord. Quick opinion. Sony price hikes. Real quick before we just.
Oh yeah, that was gonna be in the news this week when we ended the show. But yeah, let's talk about it now because I'm just
Oh,
like
okay. Okay. Now we can wait then. We can wait.
not
We can
like
definitely
we
wait on it.
yeah we could talk about it. Yeah, stick around because we're gonna talk about that in the news. That'll be later on in
Okay,
the show.
because I
We got
didn't.
a
I
few
didn't know.
things to go through.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, but She-Hulk, right? Is that up next? Or, no, let me see.
Lego
No, no,
Star
no,
Wars.
no, no. Lego Star Wars. Lego Star Wars.
Yes,
Yes.
it
See,
is.
this is what I love about
It is video games. Like we
the
talk about
live one
video
take.
games. Yeah.
We do sometimes.
So Lego Star Wars, man. Lego Star Wars. Dude, I picked this up when it first dropped, and I had not touched it for the Switch. Like I'd been out of a mood for playing video games, and I was like, okay, so I've been playing Final Fantasy 14. I'll get on there tonight and play some more. That's my weekend game. Like I spend probably about 6 or 7 hours a weekend playing Final Fantasy 14. But I was like, I want something on the Switch, relaxing that I can play during the week. I've always loved the Lego games because they're a good like in between casual and like hardcore gaming in my opinion. There's like because there's those gaming elements to them, whether it's collecting the blocks, building, puzzle solving, action and combat, but it's got that casual side too because you don't have lives, your characters immediately respawn, and there's always that sense of humor. Lego games always have that really incredible sense of humor to them. So I started Lego Star Wars, and the things that have impressed me about this is I've played Lego Batman all the way 1, 2, and 3. I've played the DC Villains Lego. Like I've played all those, and generally speaking, when you're on screen, you're constantly trapped in almost this. It's a 3D environment, but it almost kind of reflects the isometric games of the past, where you're moving the character around the screen and you can attack and combat. They went straight up third person on this, Todd, and I absolutely love it. We are one step closer to a Lego GTA. That's all I'm saying. Like this is the third person action packed Star Wars adventure that I want in my life with a stellar sense of humor, an excellent voice cast who, yeah, there's been people who've complained that they don't sound like the original actors, and I understand that. Like, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't care. Because I'm in the Star Wars universe. You've got the music cues. You've got the things going on that I want to see from Star Wars. I'm playing through episode 4 right now. And, dude, I'm just going to say I absolutely love it. The different abilities, the upgrade trees, everything about this speaks to me as not only a gamer, but as a Star Wars and a Lego fan. Like the idea of collecting characters, using my Jedi mind tricks on anything that can move, and the fact that when you get into an environment, some environments, yes, you are going to be on a straight and narrow path. This is the direction I'm going. These are the things I have to do. But then, like, you get to Tatooine, and then in that environment, like, it's legitimately, you go open world. Go do what you want. Go ride a speeder. Go bust up some crates, go try to unlock this gate, go do this puzzle, go collect everything, all the Lego pieces and everything you want. And it's cool. Like, I just love that element to it and being able to switch between characters and their different abilities. And there's so many characters. Like, you got Obi-Wan, of course, and Luke, and Chewbacca, and Han Solo, and C-3PO, and R2-D2. And they all interact with stuff on the map in a different way. And they've built that into the game where you can switch between characters and find little hidden secrets and crevices and puzzles that only one character can solve. But you're not going to know what character can solve that until you switch around and start playing with them. And the action in it, Todd, is incredible. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, the idea that they have duck and cover shooting in this, and it's a Lego game? Like, you've got duck and cover shooting? And you can actually switch your place. Like, that's cool, dude. I'm down.
Okay, so Lego games are back, is what you're saying.
Lego games are back.
Because I know they seem to have faded for a while. You know what I'm saying? It was like they had a moment, and they had like some Marvel animation Lego games that were interesting that I played.
Yes.
It was It was, I think they had one that they gave away for free, or no, I wouldn't say that. It was like Lego Batman was pretty dope, but then I feel like they faded. I was never really like a huge Lego fan, but I would play them and respect it from the beginning. In fact, sidebar again, isn't a guy that had something to do with Lego Batman the movie and like the Godzilla and King Kong series supposed to be taking over or something, like potentially doing a deal
Oh,
like Kevin Feige with DC?
yeah, that is.
Is that the same guy?
I think that's the same. I just read about that this week that he had gotten a
Right. I
deal.
just looked at it.
Hold on, I gotta pull that up. But yeah, dude.
But yeah, why you look that up? But
Yeah.
why you look that up? So like, that's why I was interested to hear, because it was kind of tying together with that. Like, oh, okay, cool. Because I know, yeah, it's the video game thing, man. But at the end of the day, the rule of thumb is like we talk about and do whatever the fuck we like. So if you've made it to this point, thank you so much for listening
Yes, as usual.
or
As
watching,
usual.
even if it's just the homie Aaron. You know what I'm saying? Because see, once the trial catch on, it's gonna be all good anyway. It's just like I'm so grateful to be able to like be back on a kind of rotation of just recording and fucking around with you, bro. It's it's kind of cool. But yeah, to go back to the game, it just feels like that's a healthy choice. That's like a healthy game to probably play right now. I trust your opinion with shit like that. Plus, I know how much you love platforming. So if it's a good kind of platforming Lego game with cover shooting Star Wars simulation where you are excited enough to say it's going to be a possibility to make like a Lego GTA, which actually make me happy because I feel like I won't get a GTA until, I'm dead at this point. But apparently, they're working on GTA 6, so maybe we'll see that before it's all over with. But but
Yeah,
yeah.
man. Like I'm going back to Lego Star Wars, and my wife gave me her House of the Dragon opinion. Um, Lego Star Wars, dude. If you played Lego games out of respect, which I have too, like, and I'm like that was a fun experience, but I've never wanted to go back. This Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, is the one I'd be like, if you want to actually engage with this as an adult gamer, this is the way to do it. It's fantastic. Like there's so much content here. It's a little shocking to me on how much there actually is to do in the game. Like they really
Yet you
jam
didn't watch
packed
The
this thing.
Mandalorian. I don't even trust your
I did
Star Wars
too.
fandom. Like the more
I
yeah,
watched The
you did. You
Mandalorian
did.
season
Oh
one
my
and
God.
two.
You
Yeah,
did.
it's
You
fantastic.
did. You did.
By the way, going back, you're talking about Dan Lin. Yeah, he was the producer of the
Dan Lane,
Lego
thank you.
Movie, Lego Movie 2.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be working for DC right now. Listen to everything he's got in production. Haunted Mansion, Dear David, Avatar: The Last Airbender, the live action TV show that's coming. He's in post production on that.
Mm.
Walker Independence, Lilo and Stitch live action, Aladdin 2 live action, Inspector Gadget, Spooked, Sherlock Holmes 3, Lethal Weapon 5, Settlers of Catan, Johnny Quest, and For the Culture. Bro, Dan Lin, I want to go to a party at your house, man, because clearly, like,
Motherfucker.
yeah, dude, all this is in
Okay, no wonder they
production.
trying to right. No wonder they trying to sign them up to maybe. Cause see, that's the thing, man. As a comic book fan, like some of my favorite days were like Frank Miller, Todd McFarlane crossovers and shit like that. Like even though I don't consume that kind of content anymore by like actually physically going out and buying
Yeah.
comic books, but that's the whole nerdy point. Like, you know, X-Men, whatever else. So
I mean, I read everything
like it's
digitally
cool.
now. I just don't have the space to
Right,
buy stuff. Like, not comic books. Like, they just
right.
take up so
But
much
like
room.
my thing is, I might as well. I think they've just turned it into where the content is in streaming now. They're just taking those properties and
Yeah.
putting it in the fucking metaverse. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm happy to see if DC isn't fucking up and giving proper competition to Disney or X-Men. You know what I'm saying? And Avengers or whatever else. But right
Yeah.
now, it's kind of tough.
But
You
that's the
know?
thing, man, is just like today, like it's hard to get excited. And the problem is like we talked about comics, but like in the 90s, like the artists, like you're talking about like Frank Miller, Todd McFarlane, the writers like Alan Moore, they were the superstars of the comic industry. Like now the movies have kind of taken that away from them because like, and not to say that's bad because I love the movies and I love the extended universe and the MCU and like I enjoy all of that. But it was just like the people you got now are like Jeff Lemire. Like Jeff Lemire's still holding it down in the comic world. Mike Mignola, the guy who created Hellboy, he's still holding it down in the comic world. The guy who created the Goon, like he's still holding it down. I can't remember his name. I've got those. I've got him on. I follow him on Facebook, but all that stuff, dude. Like it's just like Jeff Lemire. Speaking of that, great recommendation. Good point. The Black Hammer series, if you haven't read it, highly recommend it. Black Hammer is incredible. Like Jeff Lemire's Black Hammer is absolutely incredible. I'm finishing up my last book. Yes, dude.
Is it me?
Yes, dude. Like it is a deconstruction of the JLA in a 13-issue mini run that is absolutely wonderful. Every minute of that book is incredible. So my wife, real quick, going back to House of the Dragon, she says, I don't know. I think it was a good first episode, but I'm just hoping it doesn't crash and burn like the last episode of Game of Thrones. I think it looked really good and the dragons were cool. I'm interested to see where it goes. So
right, and that seems to be the sentiment of people that gave a fuck about that first show, where we were just like, we did like
we didn't care.
We wanted in the first show out the gate, right?
I wanted this. Right. Like, I wanted the dragons.
Yes. Like out the fucking gate. Yeah.
Well, so, and I think the big issue with like Game of Thrones for me was too many characters. There's way too many. I can't focus on every. You know what I mean? Like this one seems a little bit like it's more restricted, like,
more condensed, refined. Is going to be clearer lines of what everybody's motivation is.
Exactly. Like that's why I'm kind of excited about this. But yes, now I'm interested to hear all about a show that is getting review bombed, even though I'm just like, I don't know what's going on with it. She-Hulk, man. Like She-Hulk.
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear about this. She-Hulk. What you think about She-Hulk?
I really don't get. I should have done more research into why people hate it. I don't think it's the greatest thing since peanut butter and jelly by any means, but one thing I respect about the show is it respects the most important commodity, which is my time. So at least it's not like subjecting me to an hour and a half every week, of trying to figure out what the hell is going on. It's pretty concise and it's efficient with its message in my opinion. And I've enjoyed it so far. It's not bad. I think Angry Joe gave a comment on it. I didn't look into it too deep because I'm actually trying not to look into it too deep to have it affect my opinion, honestly, or change it for whatever reason. But yeah, I think he had got some backlash for just not shitting on the show. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't think it's fucking roots or anything, but it's like the focus on the woke aspect of it and all this other kind of stuff. I really didn't dig into it that deep. I was more concerned about would they pull off the CGI, because I was concerned in the beginning when I saw some trailers that it would just look campy. Am I going to connect it all with the lawyer's story? Will it be interesting? Will they be able to bring some good Marvel callbacks for me? Just a really nice general, bada bing, bada boom. What are we looking at? Does it go along with the plot lines that I'm already following and interested in? Having fun with? Yeah. Yes, and yes. Period. It's not that. It's not. I mean, it's not. So far, I feel like House of the Dragon has the potential to be the show I'm actually really interested in. But I've watched the first 2 episodes of Hulk, She-Hulk, seamlessly, and I dig a show like Hawkeye, for example. I'm a huge Marvel fan. I pretty much consume everything, but I just didn't take the time to watch that show. I started watching Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
two and a episode and a half in, I was like, this just isn't for me. Yeah. I don't need to knock it. It's not one of these things I need to scream at the top of a mountain like this is a big steaming pile of shit, Yeah. But Loki, it captured me. I enjoyed Loki from beginning to end. That's probably one of my favorites easily. She-Hulk is somewhere in there where it's like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. I'm actually having more fun with it than I did with Moon Knight, for example. Jennifer Walters' representation is cool to me. I don't dig too deep into all the extra woman woke shit that everybody's concerned about. I'm not that insecure about anything right now. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the same people that are screaming about the feminism in the movie and are overreacting about that are also on some Andrew Tate is good that he's off the internet completely. So I mean, I can't trust any of it. it's one of those things. Like I feel like if you're gonna be triggered by it, then just don't watch it. But for the most part, I mean, it's 25 minutes of quick little cheap, lawyer comedy kind of stuff that if you take it with a grain of salt, it's gonna be a fun show. And I look at it as like, okay, Disney as a business scanning it out, you're gonna have filler like this to pump your streaming channel
Yeah.
just to have content. And the way that they actually release the content, I think a lot of content creators might just jump on it because it's not created necessarily to just completely binge 6 episodes in a row and create content on top of it. So it initially may create this like chamber of like negativity. But I don't know. Like some people, I look at it like that. Some people were upset about certain scenes where the Hulk and the She-Hulk are kind of comparing themselves to each other, and it was just like, okay, the Hulk has been working on this for 15 years. He's gone through all kinds of phases, and now all of a sudden she's She-Hulk, and she can just automatically jump into everything because she has a better understanding of like her emotional control. Naturally, to me, I like think of it like that's actually kind of realistic if you really think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
guys and women, and generally speaking, as far as emotional intelligence and shit like that, and being able to control anger, that didn't seem so out of pocket or
She was like that in the
not
comics.
understandable to me. We're not talking about.
She was the more controlled Hulk in the comics because she had emotional control. Like, what's new about that?
It's so more to the story from what I could gather from the comics. It's been just following canon. If you're a fan of it, like I've had fun of it. It has great spoilers. You can tell it's like leading into X-Men a little bit, World War Hulk possibilities and shit like that. Like, so I'm just look as a comic book fan, as a that's what it's kind of marketed for. I'm the person that's paying for all the fucking streaming service to watch this shit. I'm the one watching Harley Quinn and shit like that. So I don't know, bro. Like I personally don't have a problem with it. I also have it. It's not something I would be more critical with, like a House of the Dragon, as far as the writing and the setup and everything associated with it, than a fucking She-Hulk show. You know what I'm saying? Like, are people just mad about her ass not jiggling correctly, like jiggle physics or something? Like I don't like.
I don't know.
Do I sound completely off base?
No. Like, okay, so first of all, if you go to She-Hulk in the comics, me and you've been long-term comic fans. I've always liked She-Hulk in the comics. I think she's an incredible character. She's had her own lines and own runs, but she's always played more of a side character to the Hulk. But, the thing is a few years ago, they really gave her a shot because they brought her into the Avengers and they kicked the Incredible Hulk out and he ended up dying, and that's where you get the Immortal Hulk, which is one of the best books ever. But they took in her as their Hulk because she was the more controlled version of the Incredible Hulk. She was the more, she was more in tune with herself. She was basically the intelligent Banner, except she was emotionally intelligent as well. Because when Steve goes a little crazy, like you remember, like in the books, like, yeah, there's other female Hulks, but they become the female Hulk, like Betty. Like, she becomes a version of the female Hulk, and then when she loses control, it's because of Steve. Like, it's or Bruce, not Steve. It's because of Bruce, like, being their whole complicated relationship. She was the one who was always centered. And, like, okay, I'll read a quick review here off of IMDb. This will give you an idea of why people are review bombing this thing. It says, it's unfortunate so many people are review bombing this show, as he gives it a 2 out of 10. It dilutes honest criticism that She-Hulk rightly deserves. Having actually sat through the unmitigated hot garbage, I can soundly say it's actually bad. For starters, Jen Walters is insufferable. Now, you can have a great show with an insufferable protagonist, but here, the show doesn't portray her as nagging and sanctimonious speeches as faults, but as strengths. And by extension, it feels like the show is lecturing you for 30 minutes straight about why we should appreciate self-righteous people who complain about everything. It's that same Florida mentality of that governor who just gave that speech of anti-woke, like, no woke, don't say, nah.
Oh, okay.
Bro, I'm going to turn my Childish Gambino on. Stay woke. Like, I don't care. Like, I love that song,
bro.
man.
Stay woke.
That's
fucking right. That's what I might watch this weekend, man. I might watch Nope. I
I'm
might
gonna
watch
watch
that
that.
today.
I'm gonna watch that today.
I might watch Nope today. That'll be date day. We might come back and talk about that. I heard it wasn't good, but maybe I'll watch Nope
I'll
today.
watch anything. But
But
people didn't like Us, and me and my wife watched Us, and we were both like, "This was really good. We liked it." So
right, right.
she said the
But
same
yeah,
thing.
man, moral to the story with the wrapping up of the She-Hulk so far, I have no reason not to watch it. I'm gonna see it through. And all the people that's bitching about it are probably gonna see it through too. And I'm not to say that they're not good points and like people that are writers out there with a certain perspective. I respect it if you don't like it, like for sure. But
Yeah,
yeah, man, it's not that bad. It just reminds me of what an old kind of sitcom platform used to be, though, as far as like releasing one show at a fucking time, you know, 30, 25 minute episodes plus commercials and shit like that. I still need to go back and rewatch Tekken. We can
me
get into
too.
that.
Me too.
Like I fell asleep on that shit and it ran through, but
Me
that,
too.
Tekken, we really got to probably talk about that when we really get a chance to watch it because that's got a special fucking place in my heart. I accidentally watched the first and last episode. And anyway, we'll talk about it later. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. It's just I don't think it's that bad. I like it so far. The Lord, I'm interested to see where this goes to. They
Yeah,
reintroduced the Abomination. It's an interesting take. There's some things in there where because it was like that in the comic book. She represented other superheroes. That's an interesting story. And people that say that you
yeah.
don't get different takes on this type of content, like this is an example. They're just trying to give a different take, but it might just not be for a lot of people. Like Miss Marvel wasn't for me, or like me not being able to watch Hawkeye. It's just they're just throwing shit at the wall.
Well, and there's people who sit there and they go, "No politics in my comic book movies." Have y'all read Marvel comics ever?
That's literally what the
Yeah.
whole fucking point is. That's how our show
Yes.
exists. That's why we're doing this shit.
Yes.
We're rain, sleet, or snow, whether it's bubbling or not. We've been doing this shit because of things like that, because of what it represents. You know
Stanley's
what I'm saying?
soapbox.
Like,
Stan soapbox. He used to sit there and use it
period,
as a
point blank,
period.
fucking period.
He would use it as an X-Men. What did they represent? The fact
That
that
represented the realest shit ever. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, dopeness, niggerdom. It taught a lesson. It was cool. But I remember like a story, like I brought up my father last week. It was his birthday or whatever. I do remember trying to, like, I got so excited one day. I read a line from X-Men where it was breaking down the difference between Homo sapiens and Homo superiors.
Yeah.
And I went to my dad after reading that shit and I said, Dad, I think I'm a Homo superior. And he probably slapped me in the mouth, dragged me to the top of the room, locked me in my room, started screaming at my mom.
dude, this whole like the concept of like Black Panther was introduced as a character intentionally by Stan Lee when it was created. The Comic Code of Authority of America came to him and said, "Oh, you can't have a comic without white characters in it." So he said, "Fine," and he put the KKK in as the enemy. And he's like, "Here's your white
Right.
characters." Like, what do you think?
Right, and I'm
what do you
sorry,
think
Dad. I was
Marvel's
just
has
fucking
been
with you,
about?
man. I love you, man. That's not what happened. He ain't slapped me in the mouth, y'all. I was just joking. But no, but exactly. That's the example. So it's kind of funny where like now all of a sudden it's just like woke. Where it's like in the 90s, people would, do you know how happy kids would have been just to see green, huge digital titties?
So
Just
happy.
an ass on TV. Just appreciate that. Like,
So happy.
and it's like all these guys that are just pissed off that that's on the television. Like, I'm not even focused on the bitch's bad attitude. Oh, excuse my language. I can't say bitch. I guess. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that. It's a fucking green She-Hulk on TV. But I don't know, man. So it's not. It's just not that deep. Like to me right now, it's just not. Like I think we got too much real shit in the world to be concerned about, like inflation. And fuck Ukrainian grains.
Yeah, dude,
like,
that Ukrainian situation.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, like the grain situation.
Like I'm surprised. Right. But I'm glad you read that IMDb comment to kind of give me more perspective of the hate. Because I've been trying to just I actually haven't had time to watch the hate to try to actually check out the content and just deal with life. Like my AC went out. I don't know if it was the power grid or what, or if it was, like real life shit's going on. Like I don't have time for that to the hate. And I can honestly tell you, I think you'll enjoy it more than the average, viewer. Well, now that we had this conversation, just so your understanding of the She-Hulk character.
And I will tell people this just flat out. Two of the staple characters, one from DC and one from Marvel. Superman was created by two Jewish writers to represent, like, they didn't think they had any power in this world, and they wanted to give kids like representation. And it was kind of like this, like, at the time when it was originally created, it was supposed to serve as kind of a comparison to being Jewish in America and growing up in America, and almost like having to keep your secrets. And then Captain America was created to fight Nazis. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like, people,
American propaganda is best, baby.
Pop culture is a reflection of culture, and the way that you make changes to the mass amount of people is, at least the public, is not through politics. Yes, they have an effect on it for sure, but I'm talking about just ideas, which are more powerful than anything else. Just ideas. The way you make those changes is through pop culture. That changes minds over time. That's what it is. Like, that is just 100%.
Which again is why we are here, and which this is what we enjoy talking about from the beginning. This is what brought us together, and it was the idea that different people that come from different fucking places that might have different perspectives, what are things that we can find a common ground on? And at the end of the day, even the hardest of the hard in a corner or whatever probably played Mortal Kombat with his people, or NBA Live or some shit like that, or watch Predators or some shit like that, or the countryest motherfucker with the largest farm growing fucking corn somewhere on the other side of the world did, like, watch Family Matters,
right,
or played X-Men or some shit like that. To where, like, okay, what is some shit that we can figure out and come together on, you know?
That's right.
And even, like, again, with the She-Hulk, whatever the fuck it is, it's not that I'm like, okay, people are wrong for having a problem with it and thinking it's poor writing and not well done or whatever. And actually, I just literally don't agree with that. It's not, it's not the best thing in the world. I just don't think I think it is a weird emotional back and forth thing, like people are arguing in the echo chamber with themselves.
That's what it is.
But yeah, that's all I got so far. We'll see though. It might turn. This one I do feel like has a. I will say this.
Yeah.
This one does have a better chance of turning into like a Stephen Powell of Kyle shit.
Yeah, fair.
I believe more than like how.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I do believe that. I think it's definitely you know, more of a chance of becoming completely shitty really quickly than House of the Dragon has a chance. I think I'm gonna have plenty of cannon fodder just to put up fucking Elden Ring gameplay and talk about House of the Dragon before I bring up She-Hulk. I think the only reason why I brought up She-Hulk is because of the like extreme amount of bullshit. It's not that great for me to even want to talk about it, but because maybe that's what it is. That's part of the attention. Like I really probably wouldn't even brought it up if people weren't just unnecessarily hating on it too much.
Yeah, yeah. Fair.
But yeah, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with that.
Next, moving on to some. Okay, look, this is a weird time. We're in the transition between summer and fall.
Dewey watching in the shower, fool. Anyway, go ahead. Dewey, my fault.
You in the shower right now? Bro. Cool.
Speaking of mercenaries.
That's right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I got some album recommendations.
Right there.
I got some album recommendations because I'm a big music guy. I've been listening to nothing but music lately. I still buy CDs like an old man. Actually, I just got one in from eBay. Blade 2, the soundtrack. It's an incredible soundtrack produced by RZA. Ah, man, this is good. This is the stuff right here.
Just kidding. I know. That's it. Right. Old school, because I'm an old fool.
This is actually... The funny thing about this is the advanced CD. So, I bought it on eBay. It's the advanced copies they used to give away to, like, radio stations and shops and stuff that people don't know about no more. But I got some album recommendations, Todd. You ready to run through these 5 real quick? This is fall playlist, and then we got a Twitter.
Folks and hoes.
We got a Twitter poll, and then we got some news. All right, so the first album recommendation I have for fall weather is Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On." One of my favorite records of all time. Reminds me of fall weather. Such an incredible record. Such an incredible statement and power on this record. And you can really hear Marvin Gaye's voice shine through. If you've only ever heard Let's Get It On, do yourself a favor and go listen to What's Going On. It's got incredible production, incredible sound. And the beauty about this, Todd, is 70s production, because they left the mistakes in, and the mistakes are what makes this album perfect, in my opinion. It is those pure moments of cracking voices, instrumentation gone wrong, etc. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful record. It's one of my favorite records of all time. And it reminds me especially of Fall Weather, which is kind of like the chilly nature of it, the soundscapes of this album. Absolutely beautiful. Next
Yeah, man.
recommendation.
Hold on. Do you know the story? Wait. Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
We got to pause. You put the
Yeah.
picture up and
Let me
everything.
put
Nah,
the
you
picture
brought
back
up
up.
you that's
Let me
you
put the
brought
picture
yeah.
back
No,
up.
you brought up Marvin Gaye. Like you
Yeah.
know the story of Marvin Gaye.
Oh,
So
yeah. Oh,
right,
yeah.
like you
Oh,
know how
yeah.
you keep that go. Especially like, and I'm glad you brought that up based on just the current climate that we in. I wish we knew like who the new Marvin Gaye was. It's kind of sad that we have no like who would the new Marvin Gaye be. I don't even know
I don't
if they
even
can
know.
exist in this current
I
environment,
don't think they can.
right? Because they would have been ostracized and cannibalized. Like Marvin Gaye's story, just how he passed away, what his music really
So
represents, what
sad.
that represents the entire culture and the whole era, and it is really reflective of like 70s era, 70s culture, early 80s, which is where we find ourselves in a current economic climate per the
Yeah.
facts, just data, just per like the news. Like when when they pull it up and they say, okay, we in an economic climate that we haven't seen for 40 or 50 years. We talking about 70s, 80s
Yeah.
era. So I'm just to the heart, just to take a quick extra little pause to it. Of course, like I might have to hop my. You brought that shit up, you know what I mean? But that shit is ingrained in my goddamn DNA, like in the womb. When you bring up a Marvin Gaye, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro, that's dope. That's dope. But I just wanted to pause on that. I'll let you ride on the rest of your list.
Nah, man, definitely take a pause on it, especially because I don't think enough people know Marvin Gaye's music outside of Let's Get It On. Like,
I don't think they know his story.
I
I
don't think
think
they
they know
do
Let's Get
either.
It On, but I don't
No,
think
I'm
they
talking
know his
about
story. Like,
outside of Let's Get It On because if you listen to what's going on, there is a powerful, powerful message in that whole record all the way through that is still relevant today. Like, that has not
yeah, I mean, people
changed.
don't know. Like, he was the story between him and Tammy. Heard it through the grapevine, and just
Yeah.
the tragedy, and like the whole. Like I said, it's a Marvin Gaye. The history of Marvin Gaye. He's kind of like you're kind of bringing him up kind of now. How it's just like, oh, okay, this yeah, Marvin Gaye, and let's go on. Like that motherfucker's story is actually.
Incredible.
I almost put it akin to where we always talk about like black exploitation movies and how the Mac is one of my favorite ones. Not because it's a good movie, because it when you brought the DVD, it came with the documentary, which was
Yes.
like the best representation. It was like way better than the fucking movie,
I've got that
right?
on the
So like with
shelf.
Marvin Gaye for me, right? It's like a level of. I mean, if I'm gonna be completely honest, like the music is beautiful, but the combination of like the documentary of Marvin Gaye is actually really it's kind of crazy how it's still relevant, extremely relevant in my humble opinion today. But I did not mean to go off on that long
No,
of a
no, no,
sidebar
no.
on your music reputation.
Well,
I
it gives
mean,
people an option too, man.
music
Like,
recommendations.
you're right, dude. Go watch that documentary on Marvin Gaye, and I'd recommend actually looking into the story of Sam Cooke while you're at it too, because he's
And that's another good one.
another one. Another, yeah. I almost put some Sam Cooke on here, but it's
And
hard
we're
to
being too
choose.
fucking woke right now. That's a message. My fault. It was too woke.
One
Go
star,
too
one
woke. Go
star,
broke. 1 star.
one star.
Please don't downlight
All right, next
after this.
recommendation
Thank you,
is
Eric.
Stevie Wonder's "Songs in the Key of Life." This is my top 5 personal favorite albums of all time. I've listened to this album I don't know how many times. Like, it's a double album, it's a double record. It's probably one of the best records ever put to recording. And if you listen to any 90s hip hop, you will recognize song after song on here because this album's been sampled I don't know how many times. Like, it just
I can
100%.
see how you like that one. I can
It's
see how you like
so
that one. I
good,
could
dude.
definitely see. Right.
It is the pinnacle in my opinion of Stevie Wonder's. Like, this is his masterpiece. It does not get better than Songs in the Key of Life. Like, this is my from like the opener Talk to God to like Ghetto Wonderland to all of that. Like, everything about this album is absolutely incredibly poignant, beautiful, and just like the song about the birth of his first child. Like, that song still gets me, dude. That song still gets me. The song about his child, just like some about like you can hear it in his voice, right? Like, you can hear, isn't she beautiful? You know, you're like that. Isn't she wonder? Like, oh my dude,
Don't do that, man.
I'm
Let's
not.
go.
I can't.
Yeah, don't disrespect Stevie like that.
Nah, I
He can't
can't.
see right now.
Yeah.
I think he can see again. Can he? Can he? No, that's,
I don't know.
let me stop.
Somebody tried to shake his hand.
I got
So
started with that foolishness.
no
Yeah,
worries.
for to test him. They tried to shake his hand to test him. Did he shake his hand?
I think so. Yeah, they tried to shake his hand to test him, and he didn't reply. It was like Stevie blind, bro. But yeah, go listen to Songs in the Key of Life if you really want a great '70s record experience. It's in my top 5 albums of all time. Like it's probably number 2 or number 3. Next one, Misfits, Walk Among Us. Talk about getting into the Halloween spirit. Misfits, it's horror punk. It's incredible music. If you've never listened to Misfits, especially Walk Among Us, it is all about horror movies. This always gets me in the mood for Halloween. Like, put the Misfits on, I'm good to go. They have a whole song where they're literally just listing off the cast list of The Return of the Fly. The lyrics are The Return of the Fly starring Vincent Price, and I love that song. 100% recommend some Misfits. Danzig, he's a jerk these days. They're charging like $300 to see him in person. It is what it is. Next one, Rob Zombie, Hellbilly Deluxe. Another Halloween favorite of mine, dude. Rob Zombie remains one of those dudes. I will always listen to whatever he puts out. Is his music ridiculous, Todd? Yes, it is absolutely ridiculous. Do I care? Not at all. They make no sense. The music makes no sense. It doesn't matter though. It's got that electronic, that heavy rock sound. Rob Zombie's always been kind of one of these dudes on the outs of society. Like, he always does his own thing, and I appreciate that. And the fact that, like, him and his wife, I've always found incredible, are been strict vegans for like 30 years, and they run an animal sanctuary. Like, that's where they live, is an animal sanctuary with like 300 animals or something. Like, just something that nobody ever talks about. They always talk about his movies and stuff, but the dude runs an animal sanctuary that's got like 300 animals, and he doesn't just hire somebody to run it. Him and his wife run this animal sanctuary together. I think it's dope. I love Rob Zombie's movies. Like, and Hellbilly Deluxe is still his best album, in my opinion. It's that one that just, I like all of them, but this is my favorite one. The last fall time music recommendation I have is Method Man and Redman's Blackout. Like, this is the driving record to me. Like, you put this on, drive around, kick it, Meth and Red together. You don't get better than that. It's got that vibe to it. Every song's good. Every song's good on this album. I don't have a problem. This to me is like what you get closest to like a perfect album. And, you know, this reminds me of being like 23, driving around the city, just this going. Just this entire record going the entire time. And especially like the windows rolled down, fall weather, nice cool breeze, got the music turned up. This is that record for me. So those are my 5 album recommendations, Todd. Those are what I got this week.
I mean, I've been listening to Larry June for like 2 years. He just dropped something recently.
It's good too.
A little bit of, I actually been listening to some what is it, the Montana Kid, Kodak Black, a little bit.
Yeah.
Little Boosie always going back to that.
I've been
actually, there's a couple of songs on
Baby
DJ Khaled. It's something, yeah. Nah, I didn't listen to that shit. But like, I have listened to
he's grown on me.
DJ Khaled just dropped an album. DJ Khaled just dropped an album yesterday with like a couple of songs on it, and that's getting a lot of traction with the Jay-Z, talking about the billionaire tree. I think they even talked about that on Skip and Shannon, and Jay-Z's, that motherfucker came hard with that one. But I don't know, man. That's the thing. I think music is weird. This a total sidebar, but that's what I like about how we just can record and just have conversations, and this how we've been doing our thing, because we can just talk about whatever the fuck we like. I also feel like right now, as far as like hip hop specifically, the cleanse that is going through is kind of fading off the news a little bit with the whole YSL RICO charges and all that other kind of shit. I think that's going to be a really good thing for music in general and hip hop in general, and just going back to maybe we can find a Marvin Gaye again, because like I'm a complete hypocrite, because I like fuck shit. Like Primo Rice right now is still one of my favorite motherfuckers. I still listen to Money Dance. That's my shit, right? Like, Mozzie came out with a new album that's kind of whatever. But and like I do like that Party All the Time goddamn song on DJ Khaled's. But I like your list as well to kind of balance it. Because even me, like I forget, like damn, I need to go back and listen to Marvin Gaye my goddamn self. I talk all this shit like it's ingrained in my DNA, but it took you to bring it up. So I appreciate your list, man. That's the moral to the story too. Like I'm still listening to just crazy trash shit, and hopefully, staying in the times, like, they'll come out with some better music overall, which is the oversaturation. Because like you bring up like Marvin Gaye and all that other kind of stuff. Like I said, I listen to that shit from the womb. So now, like when I hear remixes, it's kind of something that's dope. But yeah.
But I was gonna tell you too, man. Talk about the state of hip hop. The album that surprised me the most this year, and I'm sure we'll get to it in December, but that Lloyd Banks album was really good. It really was. And
I'm gonna have to check it out. That's the second time you said that.
Yeah, man. The Curse of the Inevitable too, man. That Lloyd Banks, the Lupe Fiasco one, those are ones I keep in there.
Lupe actually got a couple. Yeah, Lupe shocked me too. I'm glad you brought that up. Lupe got some shit. I think he dropped that album. I think he made that album in like a record amount of time.
Yeah.
But
that was
yeah, man,
he even sounds different on that one. Like in a way that's really kind of like refreshing, if that makes sense. And then, I got to give you credit, dude. Like, of course I got to give you credit. Like, you turned me on to Larry June, and just like Spaceships on the Blade has been something I've been rolling back and forth to the gym on. Like, I just love that record. That's like my cool down record too, man. Like after I get done working out, or like I played ball on Friday with my bro, like we played some 1-on-1, and like I had Larry June going, and then I got in the car and I just kept it rolling. I was like, I love Spaceships on the Blade. Like, that's been one of my favorite records in a long time, where I just can't get enough of it. Like,
right.
It just,
that's funny, man. Like, you can always tell when we reset the show, because we'll get back to the music and shit. I thought about you randomly the other day when old boy from Flatbush Zombies was on Funk Flex.
I was just
on a freestyle.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it just brought me back to the beginning days with the when things first started. We was drinking, sneaking, just beginning the podcast. But yeah, man. So I think like I know we got news.
I still use my bottle, bro.
Fuck them too. Right. That's crazy. But yeah. So it's funny because the whole dragon thing spawned us off to the kind of wrapping up conversation as far as Rain of Fire. So I'm gonna let you breathe on that, because you put the poll out and everything with all the dragons. Even had me looking to see if Africans had dragons, which was dope. But I'm gonna let you, get into your dragon theory.
So I have polled the interwebs on Twitter, and I asked the question, what is the best dragon movie? And I gave you 3 selections. There's a lot of dragon movies out there, but I was thinking of the 3 that me and you talked about. I gave you 3 selections. Out of these 3, I gave you Reign of Fire, Dragon Slayer, and Dragonheart. Because we talked about dragon movies. Overwhelmingly, with 67% of the vote, Reign of Fire was number 1. With 17% of the vote, Dragon Slayer was number 2. And with 16% of the vote, Dragonheart was number 3. I gotta agree with that. And Reign of Fire, 2002, the movie's 20 years old this year. It is.
Hold on. Can I get some credit real quick before you get into your thing? I almost forgot. Yes. Did I not say Reign of Fire number 1?
Yes.
Dragon Slayer number 2.
You did.
Dragonheart number 3.
You did. You called it, man. Like we were talking about it, and I was like, Dragonheart was the one that I saw first. But then we talked about it, and I was like, but I don't own Dragonheart. I only own Reign of Fire and Dragon Slayer. And there's a reason for that. So 20 years old, Reign of Fire. I rewatched it this week. The movie still holds up. The visuals still hold up. It's a 20-year-old movie where Matthew McConaughey jumps off a tower with a giant axe to try to kill a dragon. And it's awesome.
All right.
Awesome, dude. Okay. So Reign of Fire, if you've never seen it, it is a post-apocalyptic dragon movie starring Christian Bale, Matthew McConaughey, and Gerard Butler. Think about that for a minute. This was Gerard Butler pre-300. This was Christian Bale pre-Batman, right after American Psycho, and this was Matthew McConaughey pre the McConaughey Renaissance. Like, so they weren't getting much traction right now. The big star was Christian Bale, obviously, because he had done American Psycho, and they were talking about doing Batman, and he'd do it 3 years later. So it was starting to come up. His name was coming up in the conversation a lot more. And Gerard Butler was still playing a supporting character pre-300, where, you know, This Is Sparta kind of took his career over. It's still a great movie. The 300 is still a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
But Reign of Fire...
That was well done for the business.
The story of it is dragons awaken from the earth, wipe out all humanity. We find out asteroids didn't actually kill the dinosaurs, dragons did. And now you got groups of humans trying to survive. Christian Bale's running a group in a castle where they're just trying to live. They're trying not to mess with the dragons. They just want to survive. They want to eat. They want to birth kids. Like, they have a whole system of crows of watching out for dragons, and it's cool. Matthew McConaughey comes rolling in with that American bravado, and he's like, I'm a dragon slayer. I have killed dragons, and you love it right from the get. You just absolutely, yep, this is it. This is the dude. He's insane, and he's going to kill dragons, and he doesn't care. And he's got a plan. He says there's one male dragon that fertilizes all these eggs, and we're going to kill the male. We're going to kill the alpha. And dude, I'm not going to go much into that because it's a simple plot. But for a movie that's 20 years old, the digital effects, they did right. Like, they kept it in shadows. Like, it's there's a lot of fog and stuff, but it works for the intensity of it. And it's still, like, I was rewatching it this week, and I rewatched it about 3 or 4 years ago, but I was rewatching it this week, and while I was doing that, I was either working or messing with stuff on my computer. Several times, my attention was dragged away from what I was doing for 15, 20 minutes, where I was just like, that's how you know it's a good movie. Where you're just like, you can't help but just like be completely 100% engaged with it. I mean, it's a high recommendation. You heard it from Twitter. Reign of Fire. High recommendation.
Real shit, man. I just saw a little interview where Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey were in a interview, and they were talking about that fight scene where Matthew McConaughey actually headbutted Christian Bale. Yeah. And you could tell Christian Bale was like legitimately like fucked up still about that shit and upset. But the fact that they did that in one take in real life, that was just one of those films that represented an era that has long passed, but is still cool. And like I said, man, I prefer these dragons right now. Been,
it is
no grand dragons.
It is like it's somebody. The funny thing that cracked me up was like somebody went on to IMDb, and they gave Reign of Fire, because I always get curious. So I read the reviews of people's reviews, and someone's like, they gave it a 7 out of 10. They go, it would have been an 8 out of 10, but these aren't actually dragons. They only have 2 legs. These are wyverns. These aren't dragons. And I was like, okay. Like, some people.
All right, man. Yeah.
The stuff we used to argue about. We don't argue about. We need to
still do. No. They do. There's a whole fucking Reddit page, I'm sure, somewhere fucking having a conversation about wyverns versus fucking dragons and how their political affiliations are, scrambling people's brains. Like, who knows? That's we live in a strange universe now. But Reign of Fire, out of all the dragon movies, first one that comes to mind. Like, it did make me think about like the worst kind of dragon movies. I think the worst one that was like a D Wars, like Dragon Wars.
Oh yeah.
But even that one, shit like that. But yeah, man. Dragons on top of dragons, I guess. What the fuck?
But looking through the news, this is the last thing we wanted to talk about. There's not much news this week except for one big thing. And this was something that came up in the Discord. This has been all over the news this week. PlayStation 5 is raising prices in certain territories due to the global economic environment. The global economic environment. Right now, that's not hitting the United States. That is not hitting the United States at all. Right now,
God bless America and nowhere else.
Nowhere else. It's going to be Europe, the Middle East, Africa, Asia, Pacific, Latin America, and Canada. Those are the places they're getting the price hikes on the PS5. It has been noted by the Discord community and the Facebook group. It's funny. Y'all raising prices on PS5s, but the Xbox not raising prices at all. So the question being, Todd,
God bless America and nowhere else.
Sorry. I love it. I love it. I love it. And God bless my local football team, whoever they may be.
No, America and nowhere else. What movie is that from? That's the game this week.
Oh, yes.
But anyway,
yes. I mean,
where is that line from? God bless America and nowhere else.
Y'all tell us. Let us know.
You don't know either, do you?
No, I don't. I'll have to think about it.
When I tell you who it is and who it's associated with, you're gonna laugh. But it's from a movie where it's the political guy was like, God bless, and that's kind of how I feel in the back of my head when it's come to this PS5 shit. I'm finally just hearing that you can finally find bundles at the PS5 store of like a Horizon, which I can't wait for people to get their hands on. So I'm just like, there is part of me, if I'm gonna have an honest first take, just an emotional take, if they were like, what's your take? My first one is, God bless America and nowhere. Like else. As soon as I heard, and it's fucked up because as soon, like I was pissed off about it. Like I don't have a PS5. I'm blessed to have one, but it's like as soon as I heard that America's prices weren't going up, I instantly stopped giving a fuck.
You're just like, no.
Also,
go ahead.
I stopped caring.
Yeah,
that's my initial take. As soon as it goes up here, then I'll be mad. But like I already got one. I'm selfish. I think it's gonna be a good deal for international competitive, trade with as far like competitive trade. And I think it'll up the competition with the consoles as far as Xbox is concerned globally.
PlayStation is head of the state.
Good job. Good job. Good job. You won the game. You won the game. You get the dozen cookies. You won the game. But yeah, with Chris Rock,
I googled
Bernie Mac. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you had to go. I already know. I already know. Google
I saw that movie once and I loved it. I haven't seen it in a long again.
That's a highly underrated comedy. That is a highly underrated comedy, bro. Yes, bro. Head of the State is the shit. That's pre-Obama because that shit is. I think if more people watched Head of the State, they would have been less pissed off at the Obama presidency.
You're probably right.
It would have made more fucking sense. Even like I had to go back and watch that shit to kind of level some of that out. But yeah, man. I also thought about it because of the Will Smith Chris Rock thing recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, for real. Like as soon as I heard that the prices weren't going up here, I thought that was interesting and shows the power of the dollar, I guess.
Well,
but also,
probably,
like you said, on the.
My assumption is that this is the biggest market for the Sony. Like,
no doubt. Yeah.
This is the biggest market. They don't want to. They don't want to edge out because, like, it seems like American trends in video games kind of direct the rest of the world. Like,
well, and in another weird way, like the market kind of directed this because people have been paying overinflated prices to get the PlayStation due to lack of demand for 2 years.
Yeah,
and this is also not the first time this has been done. They've raised the prices $50.
Yeah.
Before on a system, I think it was PS. Was it PS4? It was PS3 or PS4.
I think it was PS3.
But I think it was PS3.
Yeah.
I think you're right because remember they came out with the Big Daddy.
Yeah.
That's still one of like a classic system to me. And they had several versions of PS3 and they did hike the price at some point $50. You know, they don't have the endless pockets that Microsoft does. So initially, like I don't know. I am interested to see. I'm interested to see because it is getting to the point where it's getting too expensive. Where like I might as well just get an Xbox, get every game. But yeah, I mean, I'm just glad I already secured the bag with my file because that's a precious motherfucker to me, man. I like gotta keep it clean.
Me too.
Everything else, you know.
Yeah,
try to get one before the price goes up.
I've been messing around with that new subscription service and I really like it. So that's one of those that I'm like, yeah, I dig this. I do.
Mm-hmm. Right. I'm glad I got it.
Yep, me too.
But yeah, man.
That's all we got this week. That's it. You're welcome to the
Boats and
show.
hoes.
Boats and hoes. Let us know what you think. Skip tutorial podcast at gmail.com, STT underscore pod, Facebook.com/skip the tutorial pod, skip tutorial podcast.com. You can actually let us know. All the links are in the description on this here YouTube video. And all we do, as we do before we always sign off, stay humble.
Stay humble.